I'm Nadia Taylor, Training and Exercise Manager for the Readiness Support Center. And this is Semper Gumby, a podcast about emergency management in the Corps of Engineers. We'll cover topics about disaster response and recovery, FEMA mission assignments, and Corps-specific response authorities under which we operate for things like flood fighting and coastal emergencies. Today we have with us Brandon Taylor and Rodney Moody, and we're going to be talking about ENGLink Interactive. So Brandon, what do you do for the Corps?
I am the program manager for ENGLink Interactive.
And Rodney, what about you? What do you do for the Corps?
I am the training manager for ENGLink.
All right, well, thanks, guys. So what I thought we would do today is I know we can go into 100 rabbit holes and into the weeds, to mix my metaphors here, about ENGLink, but let's keep it at a very high-level overview. So for somebody who is brand new to the Corps or brand new to the emergency management community of practice, what is ENGLink exactly?
ENGLink is basically an automated information system, basically a database the Corps utilizes to track response and recovery efforts during a natural or man-made disaster.
Most people are going to interact with ENGLink during a disaster, as Brandon said. There's going to be personnel that are put on taskers for deployment when they're going to be traveling to a site. They're going to be creating reports in ENGLink as far as the situation reports, daily reports, and a lot of mission management. So, most people are going to interact with it during a disaster. However, there are aspects of ENGLink where people are going to be doing safety and security reporting as well.
So ENGLink is this database, and it holds all of this data about response and recovery missions, and then also the safety stuff that you said, Rodney. So what do we use ENGLink for? And by we, I mean the Corps of Engineers, during just normal operations.
There is a level of expectation from the Corps of Engineers that all personnel should maintain their status of readiness because they are, in essence, all Corps of Engineers employees are on call.
So just a point of clarification here, when Rodney says all Corps employees are on call, he technically means all Corps employees who have volunteered. Though we are an Army organization, Corps of Engineers, disaster response and recovery, planning and response teams, most subject matter experts, and other functional cadre members are still all volunteers who have taken time out of their normal duty operations to contribute to the mission.
If duty calls, they are expected to help out during disasters, and so there is a level of readiness that each has to maintain. We facilitate that through the use of the personal data sheet in ENGLink, where they can enter all of their personal data, contact information, emergency notifications, as well as keeping track of all their training and certifications and medical histories. And it just facilitates, in case of being needed, that employee can be readily available and sent to a disaster location.
So what about from a historical perspective? What sort of things can we as the Corps of Engineers use ENGLink for to look back at past missions, perhaps?
It's a good question. We actually have an AAR, After Action Report, or Lessons Learned module that allows for past events, lessons learned that occurred in past events to be tracked and archived in ENGLink for future reference. We also have a feedback system in ENGLink that allows during or before and after events as well for users to report any deficiencies or any requirements that may come out of an event. So we allow for that communication to come into us so that we can present that to the contractor so we can address those issues down the road.
A lot of times the previous events that we've had over the past years become the foundation for future exercises. We'll take examples from a Hurricane Katrina, for example, to teach what we did wrong, what we did correct, and to improvise during an exercise with it. I know it's been many times used as like, here's an example of what to do when this occurs, and here's what we learned from Katrina, or you can take any event basically, but the past experience is used for future exercises.
So to recap, during normal operations, most people in the Corps of Engineers use ENGLink to maintain their readiness, to make sure that in the event of some no-notice event or a notice event, they are ready to deploy, basically, if they are a member of like a planning and response team or one of our functional cadres. And then during a disaster response and recovery effort, we use ENGLink to track people, we use ENGLink to track mission data and different reports and elements of the mission that are going on. Is that fair to say?
That's pretty accurate, yes.
And then we also use ENGLink like a training tool, like Rodney said, moving forward. We capture all of that historical data, and it's a repository, more or less, for historical data that the Corps can reach back and use for lessons learned and to move forward.
Absolutely.
Great. So I think I have a better understanding of it, and I know I use ENGLink here at the Readiness Support Center to track people's certifications from training courses. But if I'm like a typical deployee, if I am somebody sitting at a district and I'm a member of a planning and response team, how do I need to know how to use ENGLink? What are some things that I need to know?
One thing, as the training for ENGLink is concerned, we offer every week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 1 o'clock p.m. Central. We have live online training where I take various aspects of ENGLink and procedural aspects of ENGLink and cover those in about a 30-minute course. A lot of people will attend during their lunch break so they're not impeding on their work time. And it's a great way to learn the nuances of ENGLink because I go into great detail, but only on a short subject. So I can cover a lot of data regarding that where it's very in-depth and very thought out. And a lot of the students really are responding to this. We have a very informed user base for the people that actually come to it. That's available for anyone to attend. There's no charge, no requirement. Just sign up, sign in. That's all you have to do. I don't even ask you to answer questions online. You just follow along. Now, we usually have a test or a little follow-up quiz afterwards just to check your understanding, but that's about the extent of that. In addition, when you're in ENGLink, we have a help link at the bottom of the page where users can go, and that's where I keep all of the manuals, videos, tutorials, basically any type of training material I've ever developed is housed in this area. It's a SharePoint website, but it's very easy to navigate and to find the information. We also put a lot of useful forms that are used for deployments and things such as that on there. So, if I were telling a new user or if I had a new employee come into my office and they want to learn about ENGLink, I would definitely recommend the weekly online classes in addition to going and getting the manuals and materials from the help site.
So Rodney, jumping back to something you said earlier in our conversation, you talked about the safety module, and I don't think, but please correct me, that's not for response and recovery times. That's just for something different. What is the safety module exactly?
It's called the Accident Reporting Notification System. We use it for day-to-day interaction for Corps engineers, employees, and others who are recreating on Corps property where, or if an accident occurs. This allows them to go in and to enter an accident notification report, an accident report in essence. It is the automated version of a paper form that's been used for years, but it's easily tracked. It provides notifications up and down the reporting chain. And we have these accident notifications created daily. We have, I'd say, anywhere from 3 to 10 a day in some cases. And it allows the safety management personnel to review these reports and to make changes or procedural changes into the environment. So a lot of good benefits have come out of the accidents. I mean, we don't ever want any accidents to occur, but they do occur, as a matter of fact. But we want to learn from those and to make changes so they don't occur in the future. And it's been very beneficial.
So Rodney, what about the security module? You mentioned security earlier in our conversation as well. What exactly does the security module do?
We use the SIR, Serious Incident Reporting System, and SAR, Suspicious Activity Reports, to allow people out in the field to record security incidents. These are incidents that can be anywhere from a violent assault to petty theft to graffiti. And all of these incidents are tracked in the system. The notifications are sent up the reporting chain through the division up to headquarters. And then they are compiled to do trend analysis and to help identify pockets of terrorism and activity where things are occurring. It's been very instrumental. They have actually led to different pockets of terrorism, little home-based terrorism groups that were starting up, and it allowed the FBI and other federal agencies, police enforcement, to bust these terrorism groups. And, we have quite a few of these incidents that occur, and with as many parks and recreation areas and actually use areas that the Corps of Engineers manages, dams, and things such as that, there are a lot of incidents that occur. A lot of these they're no incidents. They're just kind of suspicious. You see someone dressed a little bit out of character for the time of year or the location, or someone's taking photos of a power facility, or they're actually now you see a lot of drone flyovers. We have a lot of incidents where drones are flying over these areas taking video surveillance. So, there's a lot of things that are occurring around our projects, and these incidents just help to track what's going on and give you some real-time in-the-field evidence of what may be happening or just something you need to be keeping an eye on.
So what is the link between ENGLink and the FBI?
What happens is the security personnel at headquarters, they are working closely with other federal agencies, other security departments at other federal agencies, and they share data across platforms. In fact, for our suspicious activity reports, that data is actually it's stripped of any private information, but then the incident itself is put into a system called eGuardian, which communicates among all law enforcement branches. And so the SIRs don't necessarily do that, but however, they are communicating across other law enforcement agencies to discuss the information in the serious incident reports.
So guys, just to wrap up, I guess I'd like to touch upon the ENGLink strike team. So we talked about what people need to know and the training they need to take, but what if they want to go more in-depth and they want more training and they want to be more involved with ENGLink? What are their options?
The ENGLink strike team was a concept we came up with 13, 14 years ago because what we saw was the need to have some highly trained individuals deployed to a disaster that could not only manage ENGLink but also teach others how to use ENGLink. The initial concept was this group would travel in, spend 2 weeks, get everything in order, train the personnel, and then leave. However, these people have proven to be so beneficial that many times they end up staying for a full 30-day deployment. And then many times we'll even backfill them with additional strike team personnel. But in essence, what the strike team is, it's an advanced group of people who have spent a lot of time training and learning ENGLink and who have demonstrated their skill in the field of knowing how to use ENGLink. Many times using ENGLink goes far beyond the actual pushing of the buttons and clicking the mouse. It's knowing how to communicate with others, knowing how to find the data that you need to coordinate with the different groups around the disaster location. If someone's wanting to become an ENGLink strike team member, which we're always open to that, the procedure right now is there's a 24 prerequisite course that they must complete. It's called a deployment specialist course where they can go online and get all of this. They can go to the help link at the bottom of ENGLink and actually find a link to this course. It's a series of videos if they'd like to watch videos, and they have a series of tests to go along with each video. Or they can we have an EXE course that they can download and take at their leisure as well. So either way they get to it, there's still that requirement that they be a deployment specialist first. Now, being a deployment specialist in itself is a nice thing for an organization because the strike team deploys all over the Corps of Engineers, whereas if you are just a deployment specialist, you become an asset to your own organization. We're not going to deploy you away from your organization. And so if you're an organization, an EOC that wants to have trained individuals in your EOC office, then you, by all means, would like them to become deployment specialist certified. They're going to be very smart and very savvy with the use of ENGLink. Many times, though, you're going to have someone who just ascends above that level and just shows a great comfort and ease with using ENGLink, and that's the person that we want on the ENGLink strike team. And again, as I said, the ENGLink strike team is more of a national resource. We're going to send them all over places. Wherever duty calls, that's where we're going to send the strike team as requested. But they're more of a national resource, whereas your deployment specialist is local. But again, the prerequisite to be on the strike team is to be a deployment specialist.
What's one final takeaway that you want folks to know about ENGLink?
ENGLink as a whole is here to support all emergency managers in the Corps of Engineers and external partners. We're here to help track personnel, track events before, during, and after an event. I want everyone to understand essentially that ENGLink is there to support emergency support functions. It's there to help us prepare and respond to emergencies.
ENGLink is here to support the end users. We have have established a 24/7 help desk that answers and fields all calls. There's not a dumb call that we've ever received. We'll listen to you. We'll help you. We'll give you the support that you need in order to be successful. We're here to virtually guarantee the success of the Corps of Engineers to the best of our abilities.
All right. Well, thanks so much, guys. I really appreciate you being here. And perhaps in future episodes, we can talk about ENGLink a little more in depth. But for right now, I really thank you for being here. I think we did a great job going over just exactly what ENGLink was from a high-level view. And that's all we have. So thanks for joining us, and we hope you've learned something. Please subscribe to our feed and check back for future episodes. I'm Nadia Taylor, and this is Semper Gumby.